us pray. Almighty and eternal God, who through Jesus Christ has revealed your glory to all nations, please protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. God of might, wisdom, and justice, please assist our Belizean government and people with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct their plans and endeavors, so that with your help we may attain our just objectives. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may be preserved in the union and in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessing of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to that eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen. Announcement by the President. Honorable members, by letter dated 20th November 2021, Cabinet's recommendation has been signified to the Criminal Justice Exploitation of Children in the Commission of Offenses, Bill 2021. Bill brought from the House of Representatives. I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Madam President, I rise to take charge of the Criminal Justice Exploitation of Children in Commission of Offenses, Bill 2021. Madam President, in accordance with Standing Order number 49-1, I move that the bill be taken through all its stages forthwith.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill be taken through all its stages forthwith. All in favor, kindly say aye. Those against, kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. Bill for second reading. I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Madam President, I rise to move the second reading of a bill for an act to make it an offense for any person to recruit or groom children in the commission of an offense, and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
I recognize Senator Ellsworth Sutherland.
Madam President, I rise. I rise today in support of the bill, in support of a bill that this country also desperately needs. The bill's main purpose is to protect the children who are the future of this country. Laws need to be enforced on perpetrators that put any child in crime or support them in any crime they do. The United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child, to which Belize is a signatory to, states that every child has the right to an education, healthcare, and to be protected. But the system has failed us. Children are being recruited to engage in illicit activity, including murder. Children are being trafficked to perform in activities that I not dare mention in this honorable house. When this bill comes into full effect, it will make these criminals fear our system and, most importantly, respect our children. The children of this country are not objects they could use for their handiwork. The children have dreams, aspirations. The future of this country is bright. Look at the young Eldon Renew, who was just scouted by a Major League Soccer team. The future is bright for this country. Children need to be free again. We can't keep living in trauma, because the trauma isn't just in the families anymore. The entire country is feeling the trembles. The country is in its fourth crime-related state of emergency since 2018. Before, it used to be adults murdering adults, but now we're at a point where the youths are being involved, and sadly involves killing other youths. Look at the case of 18-year-old Ethan Thompson, who was confused for his brother and killed. These criminals need to realize what they're doing. They need to realize they're putting the future of this country at stake. Now for the elephant in the room. 15-year-old Dwayne Gabriel. 15-year-old Dwayne Gabriel. He came from a spiritual family, a loving family. I could stand here with my chest out and proudly say, that young man had a future. He had a future, but he was taken from us. We need for we country back. We need for we Belize. And this bill will get our country back from these criminals. Thank you, Madam President.
I recognize the Senator Gerald Castillo.
Madam President, I rise to offer my views on the bill. There has been an increase in the number of crimes committed by and against youth in our country in recent months. Many contributing issues, such as life prison sentences and a lack of youth programs, contribute to why youth are killing and are being killed, and these issues need to be addressed immediately. Unfortunately, these terrible occurrences led to the death of 14-year-old Laddie Gillett, 14-year-old Kwame Williams, 15-year-old Dwayne Gabriel, 17-year-old Michael Henry, and also the double murder of 9-year-old Jamir McCoy, who was eating snacks with 18-year-old Lloyd Mivett. Madam President, many developmental psychologists have written about the significance between the relationship of a child and an adult. Sometimes these adults use the influence they have on the children to compel or force them to engage in criminal activities. Oftentimes as well, the prison sentences are too lenient and too light. For this reason, I agree with the sentences outlined in the bill. However, to permanently remedy this issue, the government, particularly the Ministry of Youth and Human Development, must work to provide a diverse range of youth programs in all municipalities across Belize and not just in Belmopan and Belize City. And while these programs would seek to get youth from risky behaviors, I must propose an amendment. According to a study conducted by the International Development Bank in 2012, 47% of the convicted crimes in Belize were committed by people between the ages of 16 and 25. It is my belief that something should be clearly outlined in this bill for the punishment of the children as well. Many times, whenever a child demonstrates unpleasant behavior, the parent is the first one we point to, and youth are more likely to engage in criminal activities if they are exposed to social, economic, and psychological vulnerabilities, including lack of work, abuse and neglect in the home, or exposure to drugs and firearms. Madam President, there must be something in this bill that will hold the country's future leaders accountable so that they know once they break the laws of the land, they will be held accountable. Madam President, other opposition senators will speak on the issues of age and other societal issues. I simply conclude by saying that while I agree with the sentences outlined in this bill on behalf of the adults, there must be something for the children as well. Why not add them into the Belize Police Department or the Belize Defense Force for them to get a better life? Because these programs that I listed will not be good for their livelihood if it does not continue and if it does not lead to jobs. So let us provide something, some type of rehabilitation so that these young people and their parents will be able to stand on their own. Madam President, I would also like to wish a happy Children's Day to all the children across Belize. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Dominic Morgan.
Madam Speaker, I disagree with the senator of the opposition. I believe that this bill is excellent for youths in unfortunate situations, whether being born into or due to circumstances reside in crime-ridden areas. As a black young man, I would like to highlight that this is something prevalent in our country, the involvement of black children in crime and the children overplaying their roles in their community. This saddens me. But this starts from the adults who should be guiding the kids and correcting them when they're wrong. And in many cases, we don't see that. There are a lot of youths, especially in my city, who are getting involved in crime. That should not be so. Madam Speaker, I seek permission to refer to my notes. Many youths are forced by adults into crime. It's something generational and a topic that should be addressed legally. who were these criminals in many cases are adults, young adults, who were subject to the same criminal activities in their younger years. Children, especially younger teenagers, are easy targets for criminals. They are impressionable and full of potential. Oftentimes, criminals take advantage of these youths and coerce and force them into committing crimes. This is morally wrong of them to do this, and they should be punished to the full extent of the law. There are also cases where kids don't really understand the magnitude of what they're doing. Then when the criminal act is perpetrated, many times the adult in the situation would try and shift the blame on the kid and throw them under the bus, so to speak, as they would get a lighter sentence. There are points to add an amendment to the bill. Some of them, I think, are brilliant ideas. I believe that those amendments can take place sometime in the future, as we need to focus on getting this bill passed as soon as possible. We cannot afford, and I emphasize this, we cannot afford for any more of our youths to be involved in crime and worse, fall victims to the crime. We need to act now, not tomorrow, not the next day, but today, November 20th, we need to act. We've had enough of this epidemic. Lastly, I want to conclude my presentation by saying the identification of adults who solicit minors in criminal acts and reprimanding them will of course not see the cases come to an end, but it will act as a deterrent, and I can guarantee that we will certainly see a reduction of minors in crime. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Jaya Aki.
Madam President, a pleasant good morning. May I refer to my notes, please?
Yes, you may.
I rise for the government in support of the bill that it shall and should be approved to become law and act in order to protect young adults from being reprimanded and being accomplices of criminal activities with the instruction and control of adults. Considering that adults could easily manipulate children in different manners, as a result that a child's mind and conscience is pure and innocent, with yet no idea of how consequently dangerous our society and the world is. Just give a child on the street a nice lollipop, and he or she will look at it like the most beautiful treasure they have ever seen in their lives. And I think that they would react just the way as us when we see our most favorite food on the table. We really desire that, and we can't say no to that. Now, let's take into account on what type of environment our children are being raised, disciplined, what mentality, what priorities are being taught to our children that are victimized into getting involved in these criminal acts, on which a child does not have their free will to decide for him or herself if the decisions will either create a positive or a negative impact. We cannot let the rights of the child be ignored and be left out of account, but instead, they should be facilitated and correctly taught, Madam President. To conclude, the adults should and are responsible for the criminal acts they have encouraged their child to pertain. Therefore, the bill should be approved. Thank you very much.
I recognize Senator Shajir Swift.
Madam President, I rise on behalf of the non-governmental organizations in support of the bill and agree with the senators for the government, but I would like to propose to amend that only adults are punished for being involved in crime with children. You may ask how the non-governmental organizations will benefit by my amendment. They will benefit because they will know children that have been or are a part of their communities are not going to harm any of the children mentally, emotionally, physically, or verbally. Children should be taught to face the music and learn that all their actions have opposite reactions.
Adults can't always be there to take the fall for children, because there will be that day when you are in the world on your own and your parent or your guardian can't take the fall for you. Article 40 on the Convention on the Rights of the Child states that you have access to legal help. This means that if you are put on trial, you will have access to the proper legal team. And on that note, happy Children's Day to all the children in Belize and around the world. Thank you, Madam President.
I recognize Senator Vanita Cowett.
Madam President, I rise to oppose to the bill. Who are juvenile delinquents? Should they receive punishments for their actions or reform? I am here today to tell you a little more about juvenile delinquents. Juvenile delinquent is a person, a child in specific, who commits crime and is really guilty about doing the crime. May I refer to my notes? Okay. There are many times and causes starting with trying to fit in. The main cause is when a person tries to fit in society. We are in the 20th century. Many a times these kids want to fit in with everyone following the bad boy trend. That is a trend that has been going on for the past few years that everyone wants to follow. I believe that if we amend the bill to penalizing the child as well, because they have a mind of their own, not the adult will think for them. They think for their own. They are the ones who will decide for themselves. They often are the ones who actually end up leading and influencing their peers to join the gang. In an article that I recently read, it stated that 76% are gang members and the other 24% are the leaders of the gang. Most of them being starting from age 10. What will a 10-year-old be thinking about joining and doing those acts? Well, right now, I am here standing up for them. I am their voice, and I know that some of them, they do it because they have no choice. But on the other hand, they are the ones who actually want to do it, and they want to find the easy way out for life, not knowing that it ruins their life. I believe that amending the bill would help a lot. So I propose that we use the age limit, like for the age consent, for us to change it to bring it down to age 10. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Diane Ara.
Good morning, Madam President. May I refer to my notes? I raise on behalf of the trade unions. I would like to propose to support the punishment of criminality for adults that influence in crime and violence with youths. I support this bill, but will add the Criminal Justice Exploitation of Children in Commission of Offense, Bill 2021. I would like to propose to minimize the issues in daily, meaning to start from the bottom going up to the root. We need to build not only criminalizing, but this bill must support and advance our bill. To start off, crime, in my opinion, is not only because of poverty and gang. It starts when individuals are children. It starts in families. Also by parents teaching their children how to hurt each other. And from there it expands. These parents brutally hitting and battering their children. Where it starts, parents are teaching violence, whether you're rich or poor, single family, educated or uneducated, religious and non-religious. You teach your child violence. This gravitates these youths to be bad influence for their individuals around them and for the community. Parents need to be educated to educate their children, but not only educate, but educate with love, compassion, and respect. Sometimes parents think that hitting and hurting their child will help in the problem. But no, it helps It develops the children to become more violent and impulsive. It's not the hitting that made them the person of today. It is the morals and virtues that they were taught at home. As Article 2 on the Convention on the Rights of a Child states, all adults should do what is best for you. When adults make decisions, they should think about how their decisions would affect. I agree with this bill, but we need to advance the bill for minimizing. We need a bill to support parental support, student support, emotional support, and teacher support to increase their EQ, emotional intelligence. As a trade union committee for working people of Belize, we must prepare agencies to provide jobs, consulting programs to guide, and programs to create consistency and support. We must focus on minimizing, adding support and hope for our youth. To conclude, I propose this bill didn't exist at the point, but we need a bill for a supportive mechanism for our youth. We need councils, unions, agencies, and educational and teachers' agencies to collaborate to improve our Belizeans. Our youth are our next generation and our future. We must prepare our future and our youth. We must prepare our Belize. The present and the future are our change and motivation. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Genesis Perez.
President, may I please make use of my notes? Thank you. I rise in support of the bill. However, with all due respect, I disagree with the views and statements expressed by the senator for the non-governmental organizations, as I believe that an individual below the age of 18 should not be institutionalized for participating in illegal activities. However, I do believe that they should be taught the principles of consequentiality. A child begins to develop cognitive skills at age 6 or 7, while cognitive development finalizes at the ripe age of 18. Therefore, a child cannot act without influence from those around them. A juvenile can easily be induced by the acts of others, especially the adults who surround them. So I believe that the ones who deserve punishment for directing our children toward the wrong direction should be the perpetrators and not the children who are the victims. What a child requires is patience and redirection, not incarceration and further indoctrination to a life of crime. If we as a country decide to punish our children and imprison them, then we have failed our Belizean children. If we take a look at European countries, for example, Norway, they have taken the initiative to install a correctional system that enforces growth and fostering among its inmates. They do this by swapping opportunities for offenders to mend their lives by becoming contributing members of society. They are given a positive environment where inmates can improve their abilities and mend their ways. Henceforth, crime rates in Norway are extensively low. Matter of fact, Norway has one of the lowest crime rates in the world, and the crime rate continues to decline annually. The crime rate in Norway is 0.53% per 100,000 people. As compared, the crime rate in Belize is 37.79% per 100,000 people, making Belize one of the most violent countries in the world. I am certain that you all realize the severity of this issue. Now, if this system were to be implemented in our country, foreseeing a Belize where prosperity and hard work is the norm can be possible. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Jerry Tablet.
Good morning, Madam President and Senators. Madam President, may I refer to my notes? Madam President, today I not only rise to represent the private sector of Belize, but I also rise to strongly support this bill. Madam President, according to a report by the Statistics Institute of Belize in 2018, The report displayed that 52% of Belizeans live in poverty. Madam President, that is over half our population. So imagine how much worse it has gotten, especially during this pandemic. That forces those in poverty to have to find ways to make capital to provide for themselves or their families. And most of them decide to engage in criminal activities. Madam President, our country has too little jobs for a large growing population. The truth of the matter is, Belize is short on jobs. Madam President, I believe that all of us in this honorable House and those watching us have seen on the news when stores, especially Asian stores, are held at gunpoint. Madam President, what is worse than that is that our youths, our future, are becoming more and more involved in these criminal activities, even if it is independently or after being compelled, coerced, induced, or invited by an adult. Madam President, that makes us in the private sector fearful, as we often worry about the safety of our staff and overall businesses. Therefore, Madam President, through the approval of this bill, the recruitment of youth by adults to engage in criminal activities will drastically decrease. And that will allow us in the private sector and in the entire country of Belize to be safer. I also need to point out that when youths are compelled, coerced, induced, or invited to engage in criminal activities by an adult, and these adults are successful, then they ruin the chances of the child to be successful in the future when applying for a job. That is because, Madam President, when applying for a job, most businesses require that applicants present a police record, primarily for the safety of the business. But if the child has a criminal record, then they are less likely to be employed in the future. Therefore, Madam President, as mentioned previously, through this bill, the number of youths engaging in criminal activities after being compelled, coerced, induced, or invited by an adult will drastically decrease. And as a result, this will ensure that more of our youth are successful with regards to being employed and successfully growing financially. Once again, Madam President, I strongly support this bill. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Nikita Narvaez.
Morning, Madam President. I rise in support of this bill. Before I commence with my points, I must make a statement in which some of my points that will be stated here today were previously stated in a bill that was passed a month ago. But I just want to implement the points that were stated here and make them better in my point of view. To begin with, I would like to say that our country is blessed with beautiful and fertile land. But what are we doing with it? Absolutely nothing. And you may ask, how does land tie to crime and violence? Well, Madam Speaker, Madam President, I have to say that there are no jobs here in Belize which will increase the rate of crime. So I say the more jobs, the less crime. Madam Speaker, I think that the agriculture sector could benefit, but also the country could benefit in itself while lowering the rate of crime. May I refer to my notes, please? Research showed that in 2013, the total economically active population was 143,000 inhabitants, or 43% of the total population. The economically active population in agriculture is estimated at 33,000, 23% of the total active population, of which 3% is female. With the increase in population over the past 8 years, there would be a decrease in the productiveness of the economy, which means there would be less jobs in our country, which means the increase in poverty would increase also, and with that, the crime rate in our country. I say that the crime will be able to decrease if the agriculture sector could help, because most of the convicted felons, when they come out, or even the youths, when they come out, they don't have anything to do, Madam President. And when they come out, they have a criminal record. No organization would accept them if they have a criminal record. So how are they supposed to make money? How are they supposed to live? Well, Madam President, I say that the agriculture sector could help in giving them jobs. They could make their own plantations and sell them, in which they could make money. But what about those who don't know the trade of agriculture? Then there are places for that. There's the BHSC in Orange Walk. But then people will think, what about the tuition? How will they afford that? How will they be able to pay? How will they be able to make a living with no money? Yes, Mom. Then I say that the NGOs, schools, and churches can help with that. As I previously said, I believe that the agriculture could be a way to guide them to the path of a prosperity future and change the path of the life that they are living today. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Gadi Salam.
Madam President, I rise to support the bill 2021. Youth crimes are a major issue in our country. Youth crimes, what causes or what influences these youths to commit these crimes? Well, when a child is growing, their parent or guardian is the one who teaches their morals, the behavior, and the good ways that they should behave in a society. If the parent does not teach their child the proper way, then how will that child learn? How will they know the right from wrong? A child will always follow the lead that their parent has set for them. If a parent does something a certain way, that child will also do it that way. A neglected child, children who are neglected, they want to seek comfort and love and respect from their families, but their families do not put importance into their well-being. So they rely on other things that where they can find people who actually care for them. Most of these times, these youths head to crime, to gangs, where they can feel like they're actually wanted there. Physical, verbal, and emotional abuse are being normalized in homes. To these children, they're being abused, and they feel like they're not wanted there. So these children are having suicidal thoughts. They are attempting to kill themselves because they feel like everything that is happening is their fault. Which persons are the ones who have influenced the thoughts of these children? Well, the environment and the parents or guardian that they have been grown in. If the parent is verbally abusing this child, then all the things, sooner or later, these thoughts will catch up to this child, and they will think negative things about themselves. Madam President, may I refer to my notes? When a child commits crimes, it is usually because they don't know any other way. They have been taught a certain way, and they do not know the right from wrong. They have been influenced by their guardians. When a child is in crimes and activity, it is usually because they do not have anywhere else to go. They feel like they are not supported and that they have no one for them. Except in gangs, they feel like there they actually belong.
As a suggestion, instead of charging these children that are robbing or committing crimes, they need their basic needs as well. They do not know where to head, how to ask for help, so they turn to gangs and crimes. This way, they are actually committing crimes. We know that. Everyone knows that they can commit crimes. As a suggestion, I suggest that instead of sending these children to a delinquental center, we can actually help them by sending them to a church youth group. It is just a suggestion. It doesn't have to be this way. It's just a suggestion. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Keishaline Gonzalez.
Madam President, I rise to oppose to this bill. First of all, I would like to state that my speech may be one too many times repetitive, but that is because I want to make a clear point that I want a change in this country for our children to be protected, for them to grow up with the right protocols, for them to be able to live a life without the negative impact of crime and violence. When we talk about the topic of age, it is true that a child starts developing when she or he turns 6, and then it stops developing when it's 18. So during this time, a child will find a role model, which necessarily not all of us have, and that is perfectly fine. What is not fine is falling into the influence of these people. Now, they say a child doesn't know what's right from wrong. That is not really completely true. A child should be able to differentiate for their own sake. A child should be educated with the proper protocols for them to know what would be right and for them to know what would be wrong. During this time where they find a role model, usually a child develops and behaves and intends to take in that behavior from that role model and becomes one part of that person. When that child does not have that role model for them, they tend, like I said, to have negative influences, and those negative influences impact that child's life negatively, and they end up ruining their lives. Now for employment, I agree that there should be more employment, and employment would decrease the amount of crime and violence. But how would we be able as a government to provide necessary needs, necessary currency for them to be able to give such protocols for them to be able to develop afterwards? May I refer to my notes, please? This can affect a child's stress level, anxiety, eating disorders, mental health, and all of that impacts them. And for me, that would be really disappointing. We as a country, we should not fail our children. And by punishing them, we are not failing them. We are redirecting them and correcting them into the correct path so that they can learn and have a better future. Thank you.
I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Madam President, I rise not only to thank but to acknowledge the members of the Senate for all the information that they have given that has made it possible for us to come to a decision. But I also like to stress on how vital this bill is for not only our community, but our country as a whole, and how important this bill has become and the many positive changes that it will provide. Lastly, I want to say a happy Children's Day to all our future parliamentarians out there. Thank you.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill for an act to make it an offense for any person to recruit or groom children in the commission of an offense and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be read a second time. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. Bill for an act to make it an offense for any person to recruit or groom children in the commission of an offense, and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Committee of the Whole, Senate, Bill. Honorable members, in accordance with Standing Order 54, the Senate will now resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole Senate to consider the bill that was read a second time. Honorable members, I will now take the chair as the chairman of the Committee of the Whole Senate. Honorable members, I now call to I now call to order the Committee of the Whole Senate. Clauses 1 to 3. Honorable members, the question is that the clauses 1 to 3 stand part of the bill. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Madam President, I move that the bill be reported back to the Senate without amendment.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill be reported back to the Senate without amendment. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Reporting on third reading of the bill.
I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Madam President, I rise to report that the Committee of the Whole Senate has considered the Criminal Justice Exploitation of Children in Commission of Offenses Bill 2021 and passed it without amendment. I now move that the bill be read a third time.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill for an act to make it an offense for any person to recruit or groom children in the commission of an offense and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be read a third time. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Bill for an act to make it an offense for any person to recruit or groom children in the commission of an offense and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
Is the Leader of Government Business.
Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn.
Honorable members, the question is that the Senate do now adjourn. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. The Senate now stands adjourned.